Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm genuinely so glad you could join us today.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We have a really packed discussion for you.
We really do. And, if you, the curious learner listening to this, have ever tried building an audience online, you probably know it can feel a lot like stepping onto a massive, completely overcrowded city street.
Oh, absolutely. Just total visual chaos everywhere.
Right. Neon signs flashing, people handing out flyers, music blaring. It's just an all-out war for your attention. And being a creator on YouTube is, well, it's exactly like being a tiny quiet shop on that same street.
You're just surrounded by millions of others, and they're all screaming for people to come inside. It's incredibly intimidating.
It really is. And for anyone looking to build an audience, whether that's for a brand, a passion project, or like a totally new career, the sheer volume of advice out there can cause severe information overload.
Yeah, you just get paralyzed, you hear 50 different hacks, and end up doing absolutely nothing.
Exactly. So our mission today is to cut through all of that noise.
Mm.
We're going to demystify the actual mechanics of YouTube growth using a single, incredibly dense source.
It's a comprehensive guide titled 50 Tips to Grow Your YouTube Channel, written by Mustafa Alfredji, the founder and CDO of MySocial.
Right, and it was just updated on February 26, 2026. So we're going to extract the exact levers you need to pull to make the algorithm work for you. Okay, let's unpack this, because the foundational philosophy here completely flips the standard script.
It really does. The prevailing myth is that you just need, one viral hit to make it big. But this guide argues the exact opposite.
Right, it says that viral lottery mindset is actually what destroys most channels.
Yeah, sustainable growth isn't about luck. It's about stacking small, calculated advantages. You systematically improve your branding, your strategy, your community, until the algorithm basically has no choice but to push your content.
It's engineering, not luck. So let's start at the very beginning of that machine, the gateway, because before we even talk about the video itself, we have to talk about the thumbnail.
Oh, the storefront window display.
Exactly. If you have a cluttered, confusing window display, foot traffic will just walk right past your store. All your beautiful cinematic lighting means nothing if they don't click. And the advice here is, honestly, kind of radical.
You mean the rule about designing the thumbnail first?
Yes. The guide says you have to design the thumbnail before you even turn on the camera to film. I mean, wait, really? If the concept doesn't make a clickable thumbnail, you're just supposed to pick a different topic.
I know, it feels so backward for creative people. But what's fascinating here is how simple the algorithm's logic is. YouTube pushes videos that people click on from the homepage. That's it.
So click-through rate, or CTR, is essentially the #1 ranking signal.
Exactly. It's the most important metric. If you film a masterpiece but can't package it, it's dead on arrival. By designing the thumbnail first, you're running a stress test on your core idea.
Wow, so if you can't make it look interesting in one image, the video itself probably lacks a hook. That's brutal, but it makes sense. And the physical design rules for these thumbnails are super strict too.
Yeah, they really are. Like keeping thumbnail text to an absolute maximum of 3 to 4 words.
Which is so hard to do. But you have to remember that these thumbnails are tiny on mobile phones. You have to preview them at phone size.
Right. If you clutter it with a full sentence, no one scrolling on a 6-inch screen is going to be able to read it. They're just going to keep scrolling.
And the source mentions that the title and the thumbnail text shouldn't just repeat each other, right? They need to complement each other.
Exactly. Don't waste the real estate. If
No.
the title is The Hidden Cost of Electric Cars, the thumbnail text should just say something punchy, like, I was wrong.
While showing a very expressive, dramatic face, I assume. Because the guide mentions that exaggerated faces work best.
Yes, human brains are hardwired to respond to facial emotions. It feels silly to pose for them, but high contrast colors and expressive faces win the click. And skip the heavy branding or polished logos in your first year.
Nobody cares about your logo yet.
Right, and you should be A/B testing these constantly. A 2% improvement in your CTR can literally double your video's impressions over time. The compounding power of data is huge there.
Double the impressions. That's wild. Okay, so you've nailed the thumbnail, you got the click, the viewer walked into your store. Now, how do you keep them from immediately walking out?
This is the second pillar. Average view duration, or AVD. Getting the click is only half the battle.
Right, and the guide mentions the rule of 5 seconds. You basically have to hook viewers immediately with a bold claim, a question, or like a really striking visual. No long intro sequences.
Yeah, cut the 30-second animated logo. You want to use curiosity gaps in your titles and hooks. So instead of AI tool review, you say, I tested 5 AI tools.
Because it opens a loop in their brain. They have to watch to find out what happened. But delivering on that hook requires a very specific editing style. The source mandates cutting the visual every 3 to 5 seconds.
Yes, you have to keep the visual input constantly refreshing.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, because I have to push back a little. Is cutting every 3 to 5 seconds, isn't that too jarring? Doesn't that chaotic pacing ruin the authenticity or the calm vibe some creators want?
That's a super common concern. But we need to realize that a cut doesn't mean chaos. It doesn't mean air horns and explosion graphics every 3 seconds.
Oh, okay. So what does it mean then?
It can be a subtle push-in on the camera. It can be a piece of B-roll or just text appearing on the screen. It's a psychological tool to reset the viewer's visual attention span so they don't get bored.
So you're just preventing them from staring at a static image for too long.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, session duration is a top-tier signal for YouTube. If you keep viewers watching, YouTube keeps recommending you.
Which is why the guide says to film for the edit. You have to cut out mistakes, re-record takes on the spot, and offer objective value. Like 5 tools to edit faster beats a rambling vlog about what I did today.
Totally. And they recommend a really harsh self-review process. 2 weeks after you upload, go back and watch your own video objectively.
And ask yourself what you would skip. That's brilliant because you lose that emotional attachment to the editing process after a couple of weeks.
You're right. And you're doing this while balancing 1 to 3 long-form videos a week, supplemented by 3 to 4 shorts.
Wait, doing both at the same time, isn't that audience kind of overlapping anyway?
Actually, no. The guide notes that shorts and long-form audiences are mostly independent. They're basically 2 separate ecosystems on the same app.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that. And to protect your long-form engagement, the source gives some very technical advice about deep linking, like using My Social's smart links when sharing your video on other platforms.
Yeah, because if you just drop a standard link on Instagram, it opens in Instagram's internal browser. The viewer isn't logged in, so they can't like, comment, or subscribe.
It totally kills the engagement. Deep links force the native YouTube app to open so the viewer can actually interact. Okay, so speaking of interaction, let's say you've mastered the click and the retention.
You got people watching.
Right. But an audience that just watches and leaves isn't a true community. How do you turn passive viewers into active participants without, resorting to cheap tricks?
Well, the golden rule of comments here is pretty intense. You need to reply to every single comment in the first hour of uploading.
Every single one. That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
But I guess each reply doubles the comment count, right?
Exactly. It creates a massive spike in engagement signals. The algorithm sees all this rapid-fire activity and pushes the video further. You can even pin a question as your first comment to drive those initial replies.
That makes a lot of sense. Give them a prompt to react to. But the guide is also very strict about what not to do. Never buy followers. Avoid sub-to-sub schemes. Don't spam Reddit groups.
Yeah, this raises an important question about vanity metrics. A lot of creators think buying subscribers will make them look legitimate.
But it's actually algorithmic suicide, isn't it?
It is, because the algorithm sees you have 10,000 subscribers, but when you post a video, none of them watch it. It assumes your content is terrible and stops pushing your channel entirely.
You're literally paying to ruin your own channel. That's why building a real community is so vital. And the ultimate safety net for that community is something outside of YouTube entirely. An email list.
Oh, 100%.
I love the analogy here. Building a YouTube-only audience is like building a beautiful, expensive house on a rented lot. You don't actually own your subscribers. The platform does.
Right. If YouTube changes its rules tomorrow, you could lose everything. An email list is the only thing you truly own.
It's your insurance policy. But man, executing on thumbnails, scripting hooks, editing every 3 seconds, replying to comments for an hour straight, it sounds absolutely exhausting. To pull this off, you really have to survive the mental grind.
Which brings us to the psychology of consistency. You have to define your why, and it has to be driven by the craft, not just subscriber counts.
Because discipline beats motivation, right? Treat it like a job, not a hobby. You don't just post when you feel like it.
Exactly. And in the first 6 months, you have to prioritize volume over perfection.
Wait, volume over perfection? After we just talked about making perfect thumbnails and perfect edits.
I know, it sounds contradictory, but early on, the algorithm simply needs data to learn who your audience is. If you post once a month, it never learns.
Ah, so you just need reps, which ties into what the guide calls the 90-day rule. Pick one strategy, one format, and execute it relentlessly for 90 days.
Right. If you switch your niche every week, you guarantee failure because the algorithm can never figure out who to serve your videos to.
So what does this all mean for the big, flashy milestones? Does the algorithm truly not care if you cross the magical 1,000 subscriber mark?
It honestly doesn't. There are no secret algorithmic unlocks at round numbers. YouTube treats a channel with 999 subscribers exactly the same as one with 1,001.
Wow. So chasing that number really is just a distraction.
Yeah.
Most channels fail because of information overload, and this 90-day execution rule is the antidote to that paralysis.
Exactly. Just put your head down and work. And hey, it's also okay to quit.
Right, but quit on your own terms. The guide says to make an informed choice after making 50-plus videos. Don't just give up at video 8 because it got hard. Give the system a chance to actually learn your audience first.
Yeah, walk away because you decided to, not because you got paralyzed by trying to do 50 things at once on your third video.
Which is exactly what we want to help you avoid today. 50 tips is a massive amount of information for anyone to absorb. So let's distill this down to the absolute starting point, the big three.
The non-negotiables.
Right. Number 1, design a better thumbnail and do it before you film. Number 2, post on a consistent schedule to feed the algorithm data. And number 3, reply to every comment in the first hour.
If you just focus on those three things, you are miles ahead of most creators.
You really are. It builds that foundation. But, as we wrap up, there's a thought here based on the source's idea that you are your target audience early on. And we want to leave you with this final kind of provocative thought to ponder.
Yeah, it's a great reality check.
If you were forced to scroll past your own content from the perspective of a total stranger, would you genuinely click and watch it all the way through?
Or are you just relying on the hope that someone else will?
It's a tough question, but it's the only one that matters. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.